Hey guys, me Saran, back with another video. Y'all already know what this video about to be about. So, sit down at my computer. I'm back from Portland. I'm all ready to make a Portland part 2 video, talk about what I did the rest of my trip, and talk about going to see Solange live and all of just the black girl magic that just rained down on me while I was sitting there watching Solange perform live because it was just blew my mind. And I sit down in front of my computer. And I say, oh, let me check Twitter real quick. And I go on Twitter and I see my timeline is blowing up. My mentions are blowing up. And I'm like, why is everybody hitting me up on Twitter? What is going on? And I look and I see Shea Moisture is trending. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Well, motherfucking Shea Moisture has finally pissed y'all off enough for you to cancel these niggas. My first Shea Moisture video is from October of 2015. That video is almost 2 years old, almost 2 years. And then I made a part 2, May of 2016. And now here we are, April of 2017. Still talking about the fucking Shea Moisture. So like, hopefully, let this be the motherfucking wake-up call, the wake-up call you niggas need, because y'all been telling me for 2 years that I'm tripping and I'm doing too much and I'm looking too much into it. Shea Moisture doesn't want your black-ass dollars, okay? Say it with me. Shea Moisture does not want your black-ass dollars. They do not want your nigger money. I'm sorry. Your colored coins are no good here, okay? They only want white people money. In my very first video that I made about Shea Moisture, when they initially sold the minority share of their company, which was a black-owned, family-owned company, right? They initially sold a minority share of their company to Bain Capital, which is owned by Mitt Romney. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not feeling this. Like y'all talking about you sold a minority share of your black-owned, family-owned company to this, white-owned corporation. This that's owned by this like white supremacist, this racist, and that is like wreaking havoc on the environment and like all this stuff. We could talk about corporate capitalism and all that good stuff, which I talk about in the video. If you guys have not, because I know. Like I said, that video was in 2015. I definitely didn't have this many subs. And even the video that I did in 2016, I didn't have this many subs. So now there's so many of you. Please go watch my old videos on Shea Moisture. They will be popping up and they will be in the description box. So I said in that first video, a huge problem that we as black people and especially black Americans, even though, well, we'll get to there, but something that we have, especially as black people, we do not feel ownership of things. It's kind of like cash grab, like get the money and run, Like I've talked about before, I'm pretty sure I mentioned in that video, the Mara family, Rooney Mara, Kate Mara, the actresses, their family owns the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants, right? They're like great, I think, grandfather, like started those teams, was like one of the primary investors. And I'm sure that they have been approached over the years by people that probably wanted to give them hundreds of millions and billions even of dollars to let go of those teams, right? But they do not sell the teams. They want to keep the team in the family. They want to hold on to the team. They want to continue to build generational wealth and have something that they can continue to pass down. And I'm not saying that like black people are bad or anything like that, but like we don't have a lot of the skill sets through no faults of our own because of slavery and because of not being able to acquire wealth, property, businesses. But now it's kind of like you're getting to a certain point where you do have some black people that are starting businesses and are acquiring businesses and are acquiring wealth and are acquiring certain types of things. Instead of being interested in, I'm going to keep this in my family, I'm going to keep it as a wholly owned, black-owned, family-owned business. Again, it's this cash grab. I'm going to take the money and run. We saw it with Carol's daughter when they sold to L'Oreal. We saw it 2 years ago with Shea Moisture when they sold to Bain Capital. They didn't sell their entire company, but they sold like it's like a 51-49 split, like they own 51, so they can say that it's still a black-owned company. They're still the majority, whatever shareholders, but it's like a 51-49 split. Like they basically split their company evenly, 50-50 down the middle with Bain Capital, which is owned by Mitt Romney, right? So it's just like, number one, I went into that video about how like so often, again, and this is capitalism and living in a corporate capitalist, society that's all about take the money and run, that we don't have a mindset of building, right? Of creating outside of infrastructure, of creating things that can be handed down, that can benefit our communities, that can continue to generate wealth just outside of ourselves and that initial cash grab. That is a huge thing. And that was what I initially said in my very first video on Shea Moisture. And then they also put out this statement that said something like, we wanted to work with Bain Capital because we wanted to globalize our company, and we wanted to, start working with, different types, making different types of products for different types of people. And as soon as I seen that, which I talk about in my first video, I was like, I know where y'all are going with this, Shea Moisture. I'm a hood anthropologist. I know people. I know niggas. I know these corporations. I got the sixth sense. My motherfucking spidey senses start fucking tingling, and that shit might not come true for a couple weeks, a couple months, a couple years, but that shit gonna come true. As soon as I said that shit, I was like, I know where Shea Moisture is going from this. That's like a job, right? Like trend watching and shit. I should get on that shit. From that very first press conference and when they sold that minority share, I was like, I know where this is going. All this, globalize and diversify and blah, 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 blah. I was like, I know where this is going. You guys are about to sell out the black people, and especially the black women that put y'all on, because that was how Shea Moisture got put on. Shea Moisture is owned by a Nigerian man that used his grandmother's recipes to make skin and hair care products and used to hawk them shits on street corners in pre-motherfucking gentrified Brooklyn, okay? And he got picked up by the black girls on YouTube, that very first initial wave of black girls that were going natural, that were vlogging, that were blogging. The very first brand that those girls really, really picked up on and really elevated and turned into a multi-million-dollar fucking global conglomerate was the black girls on YouTube, right? And the natural hair care bloggers and vloggers. That was what made Shea Moisture what it is, right? But as soon as the white money and the white girls and the white hair start sniffing around, the first thing they did was sell out black people, and in particular, black women. And I guarantee you that man's black grandmother is rolling over in her motherfucking grave. So, first Shea Moisture video, 2015, was when they sold to Bain Capital, and they initially started talking about this diversify shit. Okay, all right. And I say in that video, people always use this excuse of like, we need to diversify because it's good for business. It's just business. It's just business. It's just business. It's like, well, the number one buyer of hair care products is a black woman, right? Is a black woman. The whole reason why hair care is even $1 billion business, $1 billion with a B industry, is because of black women. So even that doesn't make sense. Black people in general are the number one consumers of the vast majority of products in this country. We consume electronics, we consume fashion, clothes, shoes, hair. We see the most movies. Like, we are consumers. And that could be a video for another day about, if you guys want to start talking about the consumption habits of black people and especially black Americans, but we are consumers. So really, if you really wanted to sell a product, you really would market it to niggas. Because niggas are the ones in this country that spend up our money on motherfucking everything. And especially if you're talking about a hair care business. Black women are the number one consumers of hair care products. We are the ones that make hair care $1 billion industry. So when they even first started saying and you have the people that are like, it's just business, it's just business, it's just business. I was like, even from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense. I was like, and there is such a thing as a niche market, and it is totally, completely fine to be in a fucking niche market and to market your products to that niche. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But, okay, I was like, you know what? Even letting that go, the fact that they're even a multi-million-dollar huge corporation right now is because black women specifically supported them. They didn't need to market to anybody else to get to this level. But now they got to this level, they're going to drop us like a motherfucking hot potato. But I was like, all right, y'all say I'm tripping. Let me sit back and watch this shit unfold. A year later, what happened? Shea Moisture came out with some other shit talking about we want to we're trying to diversify our products and diversify our lines. And I remember it was like this big thing because they started using white girls in their advertisements and using white girls and like white children and white babies in their social media. And people were like, what is all this white people shit? Like, Shea Moisture is not for white people. Like, it's not a white owned company. White people did not put the company on. White people are not the main people using your products. And the very first thing they said as well then was like, oh, even though we're a black owned company, we're not a black company. We don't want people to think of us. They literally said, like, we don't want people to think of us as a black company. And if people feel like we're only for black people, then they're like completely like not understanding the point of our company and what we want to do. And then they came out with this motherfucking break the walls commercial. And this commercial made it seem like niggas put up a motherfucking gate in front of the ethnic section of CVS or Target. And they said, coloreds only. White bitch, you can't walk over here and pick up the motherfucking Shea Moisture product from off the shelf. I'm sorry, bitch. The sign says coloreds only in this aisle. It was like this very dramatic commercial about like, break the walls and our products are for everyone and we don't understand why our products are put in. They were basically making it seem like the ethnic section was like the ghetto, right? Like our products are being put in the ghetto of the ethnic section and we don't want to be in the ghetto. We want to be in the Pantene Pro B aisle, right? Like we want to be over there. It was basically like the integration of hair care, and y'all already know how I feel about integration. Integration was a trap. We were never fully integrated. We were assimilated. We would have been better off if integration had never happened. I have a whole video on that. Please check it out. It should, again, be popping up. But it was basically like, you know, we should not be relegated to the ethnic section. We need to, like, break the walls and, like, everything should be for everybody. And I said in my part 2 video, I was like, there is nothing stopping anyone from walking wherever the fuck they want in the store, right? And there are those of us that have, and I still have my dreads then, and now I'm a loose natural. It's like, and it's those of us that have a certain type of hair type where we want to be able to know where we can go to find products that we know are specifically made with curly hair in mind, to find products that we know are specifically made with kinky hair in mind, with coarse hair in mind, with textured hair in mind. And again, if that is a niche market, it's fine. I keep saying like we are different and it's fine. That is like the second theme of 2017 after action. The second theme is like we're different and it's fine. All this kumbaya, we're all the same and we all need to be together and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like we can be different. We can be separate. We can have separate needs. We can need different things. It's totally fine for there to be a fucking ethnic hair section because people with ethnic fucking hair have different needs than non-ethnic bitches with straight hair. It's not that hard, right? And I said the same thing in my Shea Moisture Part 2 video. I said, Shea Moisture doesn't want your nigger money, right? I said it in 2015. I said it in 2016. Here we are in 2017. Shea Moisture doesn't want your nigger money. What has Shea Moisture done now? They released another fucking controversial ass ad commercial. This one had two white girls with straight hair, a fucking blonde bitch and a redhead bitch, and a racially ambiguous, curly-haired, could be a light-skinned black girl, could be a non-black POC, could be a Latinx, could be an indigenous, like with a very loose curl pattern, like with big curly hair with a very loose curl pattern. She does not have tight curls, kinky hair, coarse hair, textured hair. No. So it's that one girl and two white girls with straight hair, a redhead and a blonde chick. Talk about some motherfucking hair hate. Blonde white girl with long, straight blonde hair talking about how it was so hard for her, how she gets all this hair hate. Bitch! Talk about she gets all this fucking hair hate as a blonde, straight-haired white girl. Oh my God, it was really just so hard. Because I just looked in the mirror. And I said, Becky, what are you going to do with this hair? I'm sorry. This long, straight, blonde hair that is the epitome of beauty all over the world, according to Eurocentric standards of beauty. Because not only is it long and straight, but it's also blonde. And I'm also white. So I'm already at the top. And I just hate my hair so much. Hair hate is real, okay? me that my hair was the color of the inside of a banana peel, okay? That's hate, all right? Hate. Like, that is the tone of the commercial. And then the red-haired girl, I dyed my hair blonde for 7 years, which just made it even funnier because the redhead girl was talking about how she dyed her hair blonde. And then you have an actual blonde that's like talking about like, oh my God, it's just so hard being a blonde, straight-haired white girl. It's just so difficult. So hard for me to get all the things I need. Jesus. You have this red-haired girl that's like, and I just never thought, and she has this like beautiful, thick red hair, right? Like, girl. It's not even like thin and stringy like white girls be having like this like thin stringy hair. No, it's like thick. Like I know a lot of white girls, it's like a thing to have like they want bigger, thicker, more voluptuous hair. No, they didn't even pick like bitches with like actual fucked up white girl hair. Like they picked white girls with like very much hair that fits inside like the standards of beauty. Yes, my hair was red and oh my God, and they called me Ginger. Just pause it. Pause the camera, please. Pause it. They called me Ginger growing up, and the only person I had to look up to was Anne of Green Gables, right? Who, even though she was spunky and adventurous and had this amazing personality, she had this red hair. And everyone talked about her red hair. Even though the book series is set in Ireland where the majority of people had red hair, but I didn't know any redheads, And I dyed my hair platinum blonde for 7 years, right? The only one I could look up to was Lindsay Lohan, and we see how that turned out, right? Hair hate is real. Like, listen. I know you probably really did have a hard time being like a ginger or whatever. Okay, fine. But like, you are not being victimized because of your straight red hair. Blonde hair, bitch, I don't even know. Like, you are not being you are not being kicked out of school for that. You are not being fired from a job for that. You are not having any type of regulations put on your hair by the military, the army for that. You are not being told that you cannot fucking dance and be a ballerina because you can't get your hair up into a bun, because you are not able to be uniform, because you are not able, to fit the standard of what is considered acceptable hair in school, in the workplace. You are not told that the way that your hair literally naturally grows out of your head is acceptable. Okay, like maybe you have a bad hair day because because white people don't comb their hair, or I don't know. Like maybe you really had a bad hair day, or again, like people called you Ginger, and the Ginger jokes and the freckle jokes and the Archie and the Anne of Green Gables. Like, okay, fine, but like that does not amount to, number one, that does not amount to hate, and number two, that is nowhere near like the actual systemic oppression, not individual people insulting you, hurting your feelings. Systemic oppression on a systemic level, as in a system is telling you that the way your hair grows out of your head is literally unacceptable for work, for school, for environments that you have to be in to be a productive member of society. You have a system that is literally telling you, if you have dreads, you have to cut your hair or you're not going to get this job. The end. No one said, listen, you have to dye your hair brown because we just don't accept redheads here. I'm sorry. It's just not something that we do. Sorry. You really should do something about this blonde, long, straight hair, because it's really a distraction for the other kids in class. So you're just going to have to do something about that, Susie. I don't know. You're going to have to tell I don't know if you're going to tell your mom. You came to school with your hair straight down, and I'm just gonna have the teacher, braid it up, put it in a bun or something, because it's the other kids in class can't concentrate. These are things that really happen to little black kids, little black girls and boys, like little black girls that go to school with braids that come home with their hair not in braids because the teacher literally took the braids out. Talk about some, braids and beads and barrettes are a distraction, right? Little black boys with dreads. I had a cousin that had very long dreads that literally, there were like certain schools when my aunt was trying to put him in school that he could not go to. Literally, that he could not go to as a child, right? Preschools that would not take a 3-4-year-old child because he has dreads. They're like, that's not acceptable in our school environment. That is not what you are feeling, white person. And it is so absurd. And then you have like the the girl with the big curly hair, which again kind of goes back to what I was talking about in my Kendrick Lamar video, you know, taking things and people and ideas and concepts that fit very neatly within our oppressive systems, and especially, you know, our standards of beauty, since that's what we're talking about right now, our Eurocentric standards of beauty. Big, loose curls fit very neatly, and they were like, you know, shiny, silky coils. Again, they were not dense, you know, coarse, textured, kinky hair, you know, the type of hair that we will call nappy, right? And I say nappy without any type of negative connotations. Like, I just feel like it's a difference between curly hair and nappy hair. We were talking about that one day on Twitter too, because I feel like you also have a lot of girls that have loose curls that are using nappy to describe their hair. It's like, your hair is not nappy. Like, your hair is not thick. It is not woolly. It is not coarse. It does not have a certain type of texture. I think that type of texture is beautiful, but like, I wouldn't even call my hair nappy. Like, I have a loose curl. It's not my place to be like, oh my God, I don't know about like hair types and stuff, but it's not my place to be like, oh my God, it's like so hard for me. It's like a girl with like all this nappy ass hair, like blah, blah, blah. Like, that's just not, like, again, it's like taking things that fit into this very Alicia Keys and the no makeup shit. You're already a biracial light-skinned girl with freckles and facial features that place you in a certain, you know, place on the spectrum of the Eurocentric standards of beauty. That doesn't mean that, you know, you're not oppressed as a woman, or that, you know, people aren't going to talk mad shit about you for not wearing makeup, or you don't feel pressure to wear makeup, but it does mean that you sit in a certain place and not in another place. And it's just so funny to see this shit being like, really, oh my God, and they're so oppressed, and they're just so oppressed, and it's just so hard for them, and just Shea Moisture is just really for everybody. And the fact that there was not like one like dark-skinned girl with like coarse hair, when that is literally the fucking demographic that made Shea Moisture what it is. Instead, they have two white bitches and a light-skinned girl with big loose curls talking about, oh my God, the hair hate. Not one dark-skinned girl with coarse hair, the type of hair that literally gets systemically hated and oppressed, is really a slap in the face. It's a spit in the fucking face. It has been, and again, this is my third video in as many years. 2015, I said it. 2016, I said it. 2017, here we are, and I'm still saying this shit. So if you continue to buy Shea Moisture, I don't want to shame anybody, because I know, again, that Shea Moisture is everywhere, and like the price point is really reasonable. But I've said on Twitter, there are other Camille Rose Naturals is also available in CVS, Target, and fucking Sally. Alakay Naturals, Miel Organics, Eden Body Works, you know, all these different, Now Cadeau, all these different brands that I have been reviewing on my Black Friday series. I have a master list of Black-owned businesses going on Twitter. I curate Black-owned businesses on a Tumblr page called Black Spring Essentials. Excuse me, all this information and comparable brands will be in the description box, just like it was in my Shea Moisture video from 2016, just like it was in my Shea Moisture video from 2015. They don't want your nigger money. So if you continue to give them your colored people money because of brand loyalty, because a lot of people are like, we were talking about this on Twitter very recently, because Raquel Savage, who's like a Twitter social media personality, is also like a hair model, and she tweeted about a really horrible experience that she had working as a hair model with Shea Moisture, and how they do not want to be associated with blackness. They don't want to be associated with black girls. She said they told her straight up, we might be black owned, but we're not a black company. You know, they don't want to be known as a black company. They don't want to be known as a company that caters to black girls and black women. They don't want your money. So again, if you want to like, you have this misplaced sense of brand loyalty that you need to like stick by them, or, you know, oh my God, it's the only thing that works for my hair, and it's the only thing that's affordable, and it's the only thing that I can find. Okay, but know in your heart that you are giving your hard-earned money to a business that, number one, is really only still black owned by the hair on their chinny chin chin. It's like a 51-49 split. Like, it's owned by a black man, and I think that makes a difference too. All those other businesses that I just named are small businesses owned by black women, right? Camille Rose Naturals, black women owned. Alakay Naturals, black women owned, and Alakay Naturals is owned by Black Onyx, who is a motherfucking YouTuber. You know, Miel Organics, black women owned. Oyen handmade, Black women owned. You know, all the there's options, and now there's also way more brands that are available in CVS and Target and Sally's and other drugstores that want your money, that are not ashamed of you, that are not ashamed to be affiliated with Black people, that are not ashamed to be affiliated with Blackness, that are not ashamed to be affiliated with diversity, that are not acting like they're being put in some type of ethnic ghetto because Black people use their shit, even though Black people are the ones that made them rich and famous, right? Like, I'm not making any more videos about Shea Moisture. 3 strikes, and I mean 1 strike, and I mean like 1 strike, and I was out. But like, I did another one, 3 strikes, they're out. They're done. And I see people talk about Shea Moisture is canceled, and I put like, it's been 84 years. Is Shea Moisture finally canceled? People were like that. They were like, oh, Seren, you like Nostradamus. I was like, I'm Negrodamus. In 3 years, y'all niggas not gonna like Kendrick Lamar either. And on that note, I am out. I am still gonna do my video on part 2 of Portland and Solange's concert because that was really an incredible experience, and I'm gonna need to talk about that. And I'm also probably gonna film a car video later because I have some places to go later, and I have like some little silly stuff that I wanna like talk about, not like legit video, but I wanted to sit down and make this video because I was just like, they don't want your nigger money, right? That's it. That's it. That's it. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.